Hello children, let us go to the 3 mark and 5 marks of Unit 5 Lesson 10 Organisms and Populations. First question is give the diagnostic features of a biome. Answers what you have to write is location, geographical position, that is latitude and the longitude, then climate and physiochemical environment, predominant plant and animal life, and boundaries between the biomes are not always sharply defined, and transition and transient zones are seen as in case of grassland and forest biomes. So, these are the points you have to write for the diagnostic character features of a biome. Next question, classify the aquatic biomes of earth. So, you have 3 points and you have to write the examples of that. That is, the first one is freshwater, lakes, ponds and rivers, and second one is brackish water, estuaries and wetlands, and third one is marine, that is coral reefs and pelagic zones and abyssal zones. So, these are the 3 points you have to write, and if you mention the examples of that, you will get 3 marks for that. Next question, differentiate between natality and mortality. So, what is natality? It is defined as the birth of an individual in unit time. Mortality is defined as the death of individuals in a unit time, and natality is also called as birth rate and mortality is also called as death rate. So, these 2 points you have to write. Then question number 4, differentiate between J and S shaped curves. So, J shaped curve, so it comprises of 2 phases, that is the lag phase and the exponential phase, and S shaped curve comprises of lag phase, exponential phase and stationary phase. And second point is population increases rapidly in an exponential fashion, that means they grow very fast, and population in the S shaped curve is increasing first slowly and then rapidly it comes down. That means it goes first very slowly and then it increases very fastly and slowly it will come down. So, we have all 3 types, that is the lag phase, exponential phase and stationary phase in the S shape. And the third point is it then stops shortly due to environmental resistance or due to sudden appearance of a limiting factor. So, here limiting factor can be the food what is available at that time. So, that is if the food is not there, then what will happen? The organisms will die. So, the mortality rate will be very high because lack of food. So, that is why or due to changes in the environment. So, these are the 2 conditions where the organism suddenly drops, that is their life will be ended. So, that is called as J shaped curve. So, usually we see in the insects. So, if you take ants and all, you can see them in the rainy season. You can see most of the insects coming out during the rainy season, and suddenly after the rainy season is completed, then you cannot see one insect also. So, that is the J shaped curve. So, you can see the diagram in the screen, that is the J shaped curve has a peak, that is has a lag phase slowly and suddenly it is rising up. So, that is called as the J curve. If you take the S curve, it gradually increases slowly, and as the environment is suitable for them, they start growing very fastly and after some time they come to a slow end. So, that is called as the S shaped curve. So, you will be having in that lag phase the first step and exponential state and a steady state you will be having there. So, example is small mammals for that. So, you have to write these points for the J shape and S shape curve. The fifth one, classify the organisms on basis of interspecific associations or interactions. So, interspecific associations or interactions can be of 3 types, that is the neutral one, positive, and you have negative one. So, these are the 3 types you have. So, neutral where different species live together but do not affect each other, that is called as neutral. So, here they do not fight for the food or anything in the neutral type. In the positive type, it is a symbiotic association or relationship between organisms where no organism is harmed, but they live in symbiosis. They are like neighbors, like they will be benefited, both are benefited where they are living. So, such type of positive nature is, we have 2 types, that is mutualism and commensalism. and the third one is the negative one. So, in this one or both of the interacting organisms are affected, as in case of the competition, predator and parasitism. That is, competition means one will be competing for the food with the other organism, that is called competition, and predation means one organism is killing the other organism. For example, lion killing the deer, so that is called as predation. And parasitism means the organism one will be living on the other organism, so that is called as parasitism. So, example is the head lice. In our head you will be having lice, so that lice is staying on our head and it is drinking the blood of us, but it is not benefited to us, so that is called as parasitism. So, we have infections of skin and all because of that lice, so that is called as the parasitism. The next question, sixth one, describe the population age distribution with a suitable diagram. So, in this the proportion of age groups, that is they have pre-reproductive, reproductive and post-reproductive in a population, and its age is distribution is the attribute, that is the character of that population, that is based on the age they will be classified into three types, that is pre-reproductive, reproductive and post-reproductive. So, this determines the reproductive status of the population at a given time and is an indicator of the future population size. So, if they are pre-reproductive means you will have more young ones in the group, and reproductive means you have all fertile ones. So, where they are ready to give birth to the new ones, that is called reproductive one, and post-reproductive means after reproduction either they will be old ones which cannot reproduce, or the reproduction cycle is over, so they will be there in the reproduction phase. So, post reproductive phase and waiting for the next season to come on. So, that is called as the proportion of age groups. And we have another point is, usually a rapidly growing population will have larger proportion of young individuals, and a stable population will have an even distribution of various age classes, and a declining population will be having a larger proportion of older individuals, as I told. Then you can see the diagram of this. So, they may ask even the diagram also, so you should be able to draw that one. So, it is the post reproductive is the blue one, and reproductive age is the pink color, and pre-reproductive age is the orange color which we are seeing. So, we have three types, that is increasing population, stable population and decreasing population. So, based on that the diagram has been given here. The next question, how will you calculate the birth rate and death rate, the seventh one. So, birth rate can be defined as the number of birth per unit time upon average population, and death rate is number of deaths per unit time upon average population. So, these are the two formulas you have to keep it in the mind for death rate and birth rate. Then question number 8, define natality and mention its significance, role and how we can calculate it. So, natality is equivalent to birth rate, and it is an expression of the production of new individuals in the population by birth, hatching, germination or fission. So, birth is in the mammals, hatching in the birds, and germination in the seeds, and fission in the unicellular organisms. So, these are the different types of modes how new individuals are born. So, that is the thing, and the main two aspects of reproduction here is namely the fertility and fecundity. So, their ability to produce the abundance. Fecundity means they can grow in more number, that is called as fecundity. Fertility means they are able to reproduce, that is called fertility. So, they play a significant role in the population. The next one is natality rate may be expressed in crude birth rate, number of organisms born per female per unit area, and you have to write the formula of the birth rate, that is the number of birth per unit time of average population. Then question number 9, how is the rate of mortality, that is the death is determined, and mention the factors which lead to the mortality in many organisms. So, the rate of mortality, that is the death, is determined by density. So, if the more number of organisms you have, then there will be a competition for the food. So, they can fight for each other for the food, and so they can be a death rate in high rate, that is called as the mortality is high at a high density, and it causes because of hazards of overcrowding, increased predation and spread of disease. So if any disease is spreading also, then there can be a lot of death in the organisms happening. And overcrowding means more birth rate is there, and because of that there are no less amount of food available for them. So the sources are very less, so that what they do, they fight for that food. So that is where the overcrowding, in the small space you will have many people living or many organisms living in a small area. So that time what will happen, it will be like a overcrowding. And increased predation means when there is other organisms which are preying on the other organisms. So when the predators are more than the prey, then what will happen, then this prey organisms will come down. So that is called as the increased predation. And mortality rates may vary among different species and are correlated and influenced by a number of factors such as the destruction of nests and eggs or young ones by the storms. That young one, those will be sent away by that storm. They are hit by the storms. What will happen, their nests will be broken down and their habitat will be broken down. And because of wind floods, predators, and some of the accidents like volcanoes, earthquakes, all these things happens. And desertion of parents, that is because parents leave the children. So that is the different types of mortality where the species die, that is the different conditions. Then 10th question, how can you tell that biomes are known to move with climate changes? So this is in your do you know box. That means biomes which are once very fertile, they can become a barren. So example for that was the classical example is the Sahara desert. So if you take Sahara desert, so earlier it was a luscious landscape, that means there were lot of greenery in that place. But what happened, and though there are two rivers flowing through this desert, accordingly because of some conditions where they like animals like hippos, giraffes, crocodiles, many of them live amidst the trees. But suddenly what happened, these course of time, as their climate started drying out because there was no proper rainfall coming in those areas, suddenly those greenery areas started shifting into a desert place, and now this has become the planet's largest desert in the world. And you can take, and many of the animals which were there in that vicinity once, they all moved away from that place because there was no food for them. So they went in search of a new place where they could get favorable conditions and they would get more food for them. So that is the place, that is how the luscious desert, Sahara place has become a desert now. So that is how a biome can change the climate, so over a time. So that is the example of the Sahara desert. 11th one, what is population density, and mention the methods to measure it. So first we have to write the definition, that is population density is the total number of that species within a natural habitat. The size of the population can be measured in several ways. That is, the first one is abundance, that is how many number of absolute number of population are present, and numerical density, that means number of individuals per unit area or volume, and biomass density, that is biomass per unit area or volume. So these are the ways you can find the organisms. So next let us go to the 5 marks questions. So the first question is, give an account of population regulation. So here the inherent tendency of all animal populations is to increase the number. So what is the main criteria of population is to increase their progeny, to increase their number they want to increase. So for that they undergo reproduction process. So in these also they have a increase in indefinitely, they will be there, but sometimes what will happen, that indefinitely can also come to an end. That is, once the carrying capacity of the environment is reached, then the population can remain static. Static in the sense they are steady state, they will be maintaining, and sometimes they will be fluctuating depending on the environmental conditions. So if the organism is more adapted to the environment, they survive, and the organisms which don't adapt to the environment, they die off. So that is the fluctuation depending on the environmental conditions. Then we have, it is regulated by many factors which are like density independent and density dependent. So density dependent is extrinsic factors, that means outer characters, that is called as extrinsic factors, and density dependent means intrinsic factor, that is the factors which have the organism have inside it, that is called as the intrinsic factors. So extrinsic factors means it includes availability of the space, shelter, weather, food, etc. And intrinsic factors includes the competition between the organisms and the predation and immigration and diseases. So these are some of the intrinsic factors. So if the organism is weak, then it cannot give the competition, so it will die off. And if the predator is very strong, then the prey will be predated and it will be eaten by the predator. And emigration means when the conditions is not favorable, they move from one place to another place, and again when the conditions come back to the normal position, again they return to the same place. So that is called as emigration, and immigration is moving from one place to another place, that is called as the immigration. And also lot of diseases which are like bacterial, viral diseases which can attack the organisms. So these are the intrinsic factors. Then second question, so what are the ways by which organisms respond to abiotic factors? So first one is regulate, that is the ability to maintain homeostasis by physiological means which ensures constant body temperature, that is ionic and osmotic balance, and this is the regulation, that means that will regulate its body conditions towards the outer environment. So if it is hot, it will sweat, if it is cold, it will develop heat or develop more fat under the skin, so that, or they develop the fur on the body. So that is the how they regulate the body temperature, that is called as homeostasis. The example for this is birds, mammals, a few lower vertebrate and invertebrate species, all they follow the same procedure by regulating their bodily temperatures according to the environment. Second one is conform, that is they cannot maintain a constant internal environment. That means every time they can't be warm enough, or every time they can't be cold enough, so that their body temperature will be constantly changing according with the ambient temperature. Ambient means surrounding temperatures what it is there. So according to that it will change its condition in its body also. So in case of extreme condition, the inhabitants relocate themselves as an migration. Such animals are called as conformers. So example is aquatic animals like fishes. Then third one is migrate, that means organisms tend to move from one place to another place temporarily because of some stressful conditions. That means when there is lot of severe cold at one place, so they cannot withstand that temperature, so they move from that place to a warmer place. So that is called as the migration. So example for this is the birds migrating from Siberia to Vedantangal in Tamil Nadu to escape the severe winter periods. So these birds come from Siberia to our Tamil Nadu place, Vedantangal. So they rest there for some days, that is their breeding season, where they lay eggs and they develop chicks, and again they go back to the Siberia after their mating season is completed. So at that time, so that is called as the migration. And fourth one is suspend, that means in certain conditions if the organism is unable to migrate, so what it will do to avoid that stress, it will become inactive, that means it will stop its growth or its activities. So that is the best example for that is hibernation in winter, like example like bears. So when they are not able to move, or when they cannot survive the harsh conditions, they will go for sleeping for many days till the winter season is completed. So that is called as the hibernation or winter sleep, we can say that one. Then second one is estivation, it is to avoid the summer. So some organism cannot tolerate the very much heat, so that is the reason. So they will be inside the water in itself. So such organisms are snails and fish. And the third one is diapause, that is the organisms suspend their phases, like for example the insects, they will not come out of the cocoon, or they will not germinate from their cells. So that is the thing. So that is called as diapause. Even in the seeds also we can see in the plants where they cannot germinate for some time. So that is called as the dormant stage of the seed. So or it is called as diapause. So that is it is a suspension of their lifestyle for some time till the favorable conditions come. So that is called as diapause. Third question, so classify the adaptive traits found in organisms. So this is a flow chart which I have given where you can remember very easily. That is the adaptive traits are of three types, that is structural, behavioral and physiological. So under structural you have the points like thicker fur and camouflage, mimicry and legs, strong legs. So and behavioral you have fleeing, hiding and seeking refuge, migrating, courtship and become inactive, that is the behavioral attitudes. And physiological, if you see, they have sharp canines and hibernation and estivation. So let us see these points in detail. First one is the structural adaptations. So how they adapt structurally means they either externally or internally they will change the structure so that they adapt themselves to the environment betterly in their environment. So example is mammals growing their thicker fur to survive freezing climates. So for example polar bears, if you take, they live in the cold conditions, so that is the reason to survive that condition they grow more fur on their body. And second one is adaptation in nature occurs for a reason of crypsis. Crypsis means camouflage. And another one is mimicry. So what is camouflage? It is you would have seen chameleons. So wherever they go and land there, that place they will be changing their body color. That is, if they are in the green environment, they will change themselves into a green chameleon, or if the background is yellow or orange, whatever brown, on which tree it is living, so it will change its body color according to that. So that what will happen, either it can save from other predators or it can do preying on other organisms like insects and all. If it wants to catch those insects, then these chameleons can change their color, that is body color they will be changing, and they will do predation, or they can save themselves from the other predators also. And other example is stick insects. So these are also, they are adapted themselves to the environment. If they are on the dry leaves, they become brown in color. If they are in the green color leaves, then they become green in color, so that they merge with the environment, and we cannot see them whether they are there or not, because they are so closely they camouflage the environment that we hardly notice them. So that is their adaptation. So they help themselves to getting preyed or to capture the prey. So that is the two reasons they do camouflage, understand. And the third one is horse legs, that is sometimes the horses are suitable for fast running, and they are adapted for grasslands and similar terrestrial environment. Terrestrial means land environment. And the second point is behavioral adaptation, that is the action and behavior of the animals are instinctive and or learned. That is, instinctive means spontaneously they do that one, or they make them learn that to adapt themselves, they train themselves to become like that. So that is called as learned. So the points what you have to write under this is, animals develop certain behavioral traits or adaptations for survival. So example is fleeing from a predator. So if an organism sees that it is going to be killed, then what will happen? It will fly away from that, or it will run away from that. So that is called as fleeing. The second one is hiding during sleep. So what will happen? So it should not be disturbed while sleeping. So what will happen? It will go under into some burrows or some holes if it is an insect or if it is a rat or mouse, whatever it is, so it will go deep into the soil so that it cannot be caught by any foxes or wolves or any other organisms. And third one is seeking refuge from climate change. That means they go into hibernation or anything, they will go into very warm places where they can avoid the climate changes. And fourth one is migrating to find different food sources. That is, if they don't get a food at a proper place, then they go in search of food where they get proper food. Or for example, if the animals like these zebras, they cannot get, if they keep on grazing, they won't get the grass at one place. So what will happen? They move from one place to another in search of the grass. So once that place is over, again they return back, so that by the time they return back, again the plants will be growing. So that is how the organism will give some space for the plants also to develop, so that it can get the food back. So that is the thing. So that character is called as migrating for different food sources. Last one is the important behavioral adaptation is migration and courtship. So what is migration? As we know that it is moving of organisms to a better resource where they can get food, and if there is any threat also they can move away from that place or evade from that place. So that is called as a migration. Then what is courtship? So it is a behavioral patterns to find a mate to reproduce. So most nocturnal animals, if you see, they remain underground or they remain inactive during the daytime. So why is that? Because they don't want to interfere with the daytime animals. So what will happen? This is how the organisms live in the same place, and they will be reducing the stress between the two organisms. They will not be competing with the predation what they are doing in that particular area. So this is a modification for feeding and activity pattern and also habit and also as behavior. So if two organisms are sharing the same habitat, then if one is a day organism, another one is a nocturnal organism, then one will not be interfering with them because their timings of predation is different. So that is how they don't compete with each other, though they live in the same habitat. Last point what you have to write is ethology. It is the scientific study of an animal behavior under natural conditions. Then third one what we have to write is physiological adaptation. So these are adaptations of organisms that help them to live and survive in their environment with unique niches. So for example, like lions have sharp canines to hunt and tear meat, and a digestive system suitable for digesting the raw meat. So this is how they can digest the raw meat. And second one is the hibernation, that is winter sleep, and estivation, the summer sleep. So these are the two types of inactivity where the metabolic rate slows down, and so that the animal can survive without eating or drinking for many days. So this is the physiological adaptations. So I think we will continue in the next class for the next 5 marks questions, which we will be seeing in detail. Thank you.